In this video, we'll be looking at layout grid in Figma. What is a layout grid? A layout grid is a visual guide made up of lines that helps you align and organize your element consistently within a frame. There are three types of grid. We have the grid, which is the equal square grid. We have the column. This is the most used type of layout grid. And we have the row. The row is useful for vertical spacing. Let's take a look at the anatomy of a column grid, since this is the most used type of layout grid. We have the columns. These are the vertical division of your layout. This is where your content lives. Then we have the gutters. Gutters are the spaces between your columns. It gives your layout some breathing room. And lastly, we have the margins. Margins are the empty spaces on the left and right side of your layouts. They create visual boundaries and prevent content from touching the edge of your frame. So how do you add a layout grid to your frame? First, let's add our frame to canvas. Select frame. I'll add a desktop frame, and also I'll add a mobile frame. Once you've added your frames, you select the frame you want to add the layout grid to. First, I'll select this desktop frame, and I'll come to my properties panel. I will see layout guide, and I'll click on this plus icon button. I can move this guy up to see what I'm doing. I have grid here. I can click on this drop down, and I'll see all the three types of grid we have. Let's click on column. You see the counts. The count is the number of columns you want. Let's change this to 12. It's recommended you use 12 columns when you are designing a desktop version of probably a website or a web app. Then you can change the color. I will leave this as red. Then the 10% opacity allows you to see through the grid. If it's set to 100, you won't see your element or your content on the screen, so it's advisable you set to 10%. The type, let's leave this as stretch. And our margins, I will set my margin to 140, and I will set my gutter to 24. This is what our layout grid looks like for desktop version. So I'll go ahead to add a layout grid to the mobile version as well. I'll click on the frame, come to layout guide. I'll change this to column, drag this up so I can see. For the count, I will change the count to 4. The type, leave it as stretch. The margin, I will change my margin to 24, and my gutter, I will set it to 16. Another thing to note is it's advisable for you to use numbers that are even numbers. So if we check my counts, we have 4 even number, margin 24 even number, 16 even number. Let's close this. Now that we've added our layout grid, it is important for you to note that you can edit already existing layout grid. So for instance, let me duplicate this, my mobile frame. Let me duplicate this guy. I want to edit this 4 column grid to 8 column grid. I'll click on the frame. I'll come to layout guide, and I'll click on this layout guide icon here. Click on that. So instead of 4, I can change this to 8. Now I have an 8 column layout grid. Also, I can copy a layout grid from one frame to the other. I have this desktop frame here with no grid. Instead of me going ahead to create a new layout grid from scratch, I can just click on this desktop one, click on this empty space in front of this icon, and press Command C or Control C depending on the system I'm using, and come back to this frame here, select the frame and press Command V or Control V. Then it pastes the settings that I have in the previous frame to this new frame, and I can do that as well for the mobile frames. Now let's see how layout grid helps me when I'm doing my design. I'll delete this desktop to frame, and I'll delete this second frame as well. I have these pictures here and I want to arrange this picture nicely into my desktop frame. First, what I'll do, I will expand this frame, then I will draw a separate frame that is going to house my pictures into my master frame, so I can draw this frame here. So now watch what will happen. Once I'm adjusting my frame, it snaps at the edge of those columns. You can see how they snap. That's the help of a layout grid. Now our frame is white. Let me give it a fill and change the color to maybe this gray. All right, and I can also increase the corner radius from my appearance settings. Let me give this 20. Just the corner radius. I want to add some smaller frame beneath this one. I'll click on my frame tool again and draw this frame here. This one, I'll give it the same gray color as well, and I'll give the corner radius of this to be 16. And what I want to do next is duplicate this frame. Good, just like this. Now I can bring my pictures into these frames. And the first one I want to do is this effect over here. I'll just drag and drop it inside this frame. I can't and expand this image to fill the whole frame, just like this. Then I'll pick this next one and drag it inside this frame. I will expand that as well. I'll bring my next picture, maybe this guy, drag it inside this frame, and I'll bring my last, maybe this one, and drag it here and expand. How you expand, you click on the edge of the picture, you press shift and you press option or alt depending on the system you are using, and you drag. Good. Now we have our pictures in this frame, but now the way we are looking at it, the layout grid is overlaying on our pictures. So if you want to temporarily disable your layout grid, you can click on the frame, and I will go to my layout guide, and I will see this icon here. I'll toggle on it. It's going to hide my layout grid, and I can turn it back on. All right. And if I want to hide all the grid on this screen, maybe the grid of my desktop and my phone at the same time, what I will do, I will come to view and I will see layout guide. I'll click on that. It's going to hide all the layout grid I have on my screen, and to toggle that back on, I'll come back to view and click on layout guide. And the keyboard shortcut for this is Shift G. If I click on Shift G, it hides my layout guide, and if I click on Shift G again, it brings them back. So guys, that's the long and short of layout grid. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.